Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Oafdiscussions. I am who they call Webb. With me is Kid Swift and LL Cool B. And in today's episode, we discuss the third studio album of Logic, known as Everybody. Here's our quick thoughts on it.
Yeah, so first and foremost, like we said, the third studio album from Logic, third time around. This album kind of compared, because one of the things I remember listening to, like Under Pressure had these clear points for me that I love, that I still go back to listen to. Like the outro song on Under Pressure is one of my favorites of his, just because the beat is so good. And like I've said multiple times before, if you get me in the door with the beat, I'm probably going to stick around unless the lyrics are just completely like trash. Logic always does a good job with production, with theme kind of filling throughout, and by him kind of like, I guess you could say, upgrading some things as far as like features, like we said. You've got Killer Mike on this. You've got J. Cole on this. Spoilers. You've got Neil deGrasse Tyson for the kind of skits or the storyline that kind of goes throughout this. And it's very interesting and plays out like a Logic album in the, I guess you could say, best way possible. Kind of what we've come to expect from him. Because he's very good lyrically, and he always tries to like pull a theme into his albums front to back. The other thing that I kind of looked at this that's interesting is I feel like this one is a little bit more, I guess you could say, focused lyrically from a song to song standpoint. And the reason why I say this is I feel like he's really focused and all in on the whole issue of, I guess you could say, his things he's dealt with as far as like being biracial and having to deal with that. I think that
You don't say.
I know, right? Yeah,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
and I think that's something that stays strong throughout. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that. There's like the song, for instance, like Anxiety, the song about anxiety, which is really good song. And a friend of mine that I talk to a lot about music that I work with, he was talking about it's really cool to see somebody address this in hip hop in such a, I guess you could say, vulnerable and kind of like true way, where he talks about literally like his experience, what happened to him and how he felt about it and how he tried to like deal with it and how he denied it at first. And then going through that, through songs like that, but then it kind of always managed to make its way back to like what he's dealt with, kind of trying to find ways to fit in on both sides, whether it's white, black, whatever. And it was funny because some of the people that I talked to talked about how like there's sometimes where it seemed strong to the point where it was like, it wasn't like overbearing, but it was very like in your face, which I can understand that. But I still enjoyed it front to back. Production's there. I love that. Lyrically, I think it's there. It was very cool to hear the callbacks, like the way it gets to the end of the album, and then you hear spoilers, yeah, spoilers, I guess. You hear the two, you have the two astronauts
from the last album,
basically pick up like right where they left off, where they're walking across this planet, and then he like basically goes like, I'm about to start the fourth album, and then it goes into this. Spoilers again, the feature.
Spoilers about that skit.
Well, yeah.
There's a lot of damn spoilers on this last track.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah,
the last track. Like, I'm listening to the fourth. Yeah, I'm about to turn the fourth album on now. His last one. Yeah. Which that's the whole thing that a lot of people have been talking about as well too about this one, is that there's a lot of hints even to the name, and that this is going to be that his next album, the fourth one, is going to be his last album. And that's cool to look at, and knowing the way Logic is, and we've heard over all the albums, like how big like he's into like Quentin Tarantino and stuff like that. You can feel that like theme structure, like the way he structures his albums are very much like a film, and it works out. It works well because you see the theme that he's trying to address lyrically throughout, and then you see the kind of like picture that he's trying to paint through like the skits and everything like that. And usually it's funny too, which is nice. Yeah. So yeah, like that's kind of where I am. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the second album for me, I enjoyed a little bit more because I feel like front to back, like nonstop, every one of those songs. Like I love every one of those songs. This one's not far off that, so don't let me preface that by saying it's not like this one was any, like I guess you could say, worse. It's just there's a different feeling here, and it still is a good album and a good body of work, especially in a day and age now where a lot of albums don't have this cohesive, glued together structure where it's like a story where if you've listened to all the albums before, you're getting rewarded with little Easter eggs and nuggets from the previous albums. I think that makes a huge difference, and I think it's a cool thing because if you've been listening to Logic for a while, you know that he has one of the most loyal fan bases and fervent fan bases in hip hop, and it's dope. I like it. I really enjoy it. I'm not gonna do no grade system or anything like that, but that's how I feel about it. But what do you think?
Okay. As far as with this album here, I really love the concept. As far as for him to continue to do that,
Right.
As obviously you can tell, he has a huge fan of Tarantino, and that kind of shows. And it looks like that might be something he's gonna want to branch out to when it comes later to once this music thing is done with, or if he ends music,
Right.
and decides to go into filmmaking. You can definitely tell there. I really love how the ending kind of hit me like almost like an end credit scene of a Marvel movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. As far as that little zinger there, I'm sitting there listening to it, and I had the headphones on. I'm sitting there listening, so I was like, huh. And my wife is like, what? And it's like, well, you're not gonna follow along. It's like because you haven't been. It's like you have to know the lore in order before you're gonna get it.
You haven't read the comic books.
And what was funny is like as far as for them to come back and forth with those skits. I really wanted to hear more of the story between the tracks.
Yes.
And that kind of hit me. It reminded me of how music videos back in the day, or when they used to be on BET and MTV,
Right.
You would watch certain music videos, and some of them actually were telling a story in the hour on or within that time. And it would sit there and just show the story and then cut away to somebody rapping or singing or dancing. I was like, whoa, hold on. Switch back. I want to see I want to see how this goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of hit me there. So obviously he did a pretty good job there as far as for me wanting to know more and see more about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As far as the actual music, I felt that the production he is constantly improving. It's getting better and better as each project comes out. As far as from a lyrical standpoint, I don't feel like he's really gone. I don't think he is evolved as much as his production has. That flow that he, as far as that particular flow, which is a great flow.
That double time.
Yeah, the double time. As far as he hasn't, I don't really feel like he expanded much after that. And as far as also his subject matter, with the exception of anxiety, all throughout the album sprinkled in regarding the difficulties or the controversy or things that go along with being biracial, for that to keep coming up as often as it did.
Yeah.
I got a little that came across a little tedious for me.
Absolutely.
I mean, but granted, it's like still some hard hitting shit, especially like with Take It Back.
Yeah,
the rant that he did at the very end. Honestly, that would have made that actually kind of would have been dope if he ended the album using Take It Back.
Right.
Especially for him to do that rant at the end. However, at the same time, that rant at the end, I feel like he could have used that as more. It would have hit harder if he had actually used those as verses.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
especially
like
for him to, especially if he was to go into as big of a, like he went more in depth using the rant than he did on any of the multiple verses that he had about being biracial.
Right, exactly.
And like honestly, I was like, well, I mean, if you're able to say all that, why didn't you do that in song form?
Yeah, right.
Like you have the platform right there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was just more a fact that it was like I can't fit certain rhymes into it as far as going there, or I've already done enough of these songs as it is, or what it is.
To just speak it to you.
So I felt like that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
As far as other missed opportunities, it'd have been dope. It would have been funny as hell if he had Mos Def as a guest feature on Most Definitely.
Dude, I was hoping so bad
for Most Definitely for that section there.
I was like, there's no way Mos Def's not on this song.
Another feature which I really would have liked would have been if Childish Gambino was on Black Spider-Man. Seeing as how
that's right. Yeah,
I mean, it made sense seeing as how that's kind of how Miles Morales came about.
Yeah,
because everyone was still like Glover for president, or Glover for Spider-Man. Pardon me.
Right, yeah, that too.
Oh, maybe 2026 or 2024, maybe 2024,
right.
maybe. Who's to say? As far as actual tracks on there, America. Just a quick thought on that. I caught how what Logic does on certain albums. He'll use a sample that's already been used. And it's just funny as hell catching it on Under Pressure. How it's like, that's Sing About Me.
Yeah,
and And then I think he did it again on the Incredible True Story, but it escapes me right now. But on this one with the track America, he sampled not only Truffle Butter, but he also sampled I think it was called Fade Away by Kanye. Is that what it's? I can feel it with Tiana Taylor dancing and shit like that.
Yeah. I need the fate. That song? Yeah.
Yeah, as far as him putting both of those together.
Yeah.
And like that was dope as far as unique as, but at the same time I was like, I caught you. I
know what you're doing. Yeah,
I see what you're doing.
Yeah. And that song was loaded.
And yes, and to hear Black Thought and to hear Chuck D, as soon as I was in there listening to it because I didn't have it to where I was riding around with it, so I didn't get to check the liner notes.
Right. Yeah.
But for me to sit there and listen to that, and then it was like, wait a minute, is that Chuck D? I was like, oh shit! It's like, yeah. Especially because he just has that presence about him, and it's just like you can just tell whether he's talking or he's rapping. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's Chuck D right there. It's very distinct. And to hear Black Thought, it's always good to catch a verse from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Afric Aryan was another thing that I thought was kind of interesting. How I was trying to figure out, I was scratching my head because I'm sitting there listening to it, and then there was a part where it kind of breaks down, and he's sitting there repeating the same thing he was saying, or like on a verse before. And I was like, why does this sound familiar? And it's not just because he already said it on this song, but he did a snippet of this on what was supposed to be like an interlude where it sounds like he's at a party. And he's just playing it for other people to listen to, and everybody's talking in the background.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. No, the song is in the background, but everybody's talking, blah blah blah. It's almost like there wasn't a lot of focus on it.
Yeah.
But he was actually just it was just kind of tricky, it was kind of trippy. There we go. That he would sneak that in there.
Right.
And I want to say it was actually on Under Pressure. So for him to sit there and hold on to that track for so long,
that long,
and then to sit there and give it out there,
he was like, now it's good. Now I can put it in here. That makes sense.
And I didn't realize that Juicy J was on Inkblot until his "Shut the Fuck Up" tag at the end. I didn't catch that until the very end. And it was kind of dope how they kind of shared.
They played off each other, and it was good.
They kind of shared the verse.
That was good, yeah.
And another bit on that 1-800 whatever number.
Yeah. That was
I would, for a split second, the first time I listened to it, I was like, wait, this ain't Janae Aiko.
Yeah.
But then I looked, it was it's Alicia Cara, or however her name is. Yeah. So my thoughts on it, it's a strong album, especially as far as it trying to be cohesive.
Right.
It's all there. Like the themes are consistent, although a little bit repetitive.
Right.
But at the same time, it's a strong album production wise. If you're used to his flow, then this is not something new to you. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
For what it's worth. Like, I still had some criticisms about it, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Definitely. Brent, what did you think?
I think you
were good.
I think you all summed it up pretty well. From the pieces I've heard, that I've gotten to take away, I've been impressed by the production.
Yeah.
And I got to see kind of the features, and I was like, all right, I'm looking forward to this, just getting to some of the more of the features. I'm not a huge Logic fan.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't took in a lot of the music.
Right, absolutely.
So as of right now, I'm thinking I'm feeling very positive about it.
Yeah.
So
as someone,
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. Like, I don't hate it, and I'm not like turned off by the music, whatever. The production has been really good, and that's pretty much my thoughts on that. Like, I'm enjoying the production of it.
So, like you said, as somebody who hasn't listened to Logic extensively, it does make you want to listen to more. It doesn't.
Yes. I want to hear this one cover to cover a couple times.
Right.
So that way I can digest, like, one, the production, two, the actual content.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
I mean, there's always underlying stuff, themes and stuff. There's and I think it's good. I mean, it's like we said, it has that cohesive feeling. It's strong throughout. I wish, like you said, like the last album that the Neil deGrasse Tyson skits were after each song in the same way to give more of development to that story because it was good when it was there.
Yeah.
And anytime you get to hear Neil deGrasse Tyson, it's usually pretty solid. And then also, it was funny because on the Killer Mike song, because I was looking at the line, like I could see like all the tracks coming as they were coming. So when I got to the Killer Mike, I kept waiting for him to like come in and just fucking go off.
I was really And
the thing is, that spoken word
Thanks for
part
reminding me.
still works pretty
Thanks
well.
for reminding me. Yeah.
I think I was disappointed at first that he didn't
Killer
just
Mike
rap.
didn't have a verse.
Exactly, but his speaking part and his spoken word, I guess still technically a spoken word verse, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I think was still pretty damn strong, and it worked well in the context of the overall thing. But yeah, I was just waiting the whole time. After Logic's second verse, I was like, all right, everybody get out of the room. Like, this shit's about to blow up. But
take cover, but no.
Yeah. But he still was very solid on his delivery, but it just wasn't a verse. It was just a very like strong spoken word piece, which still worked.
Yeah.
It still worked. Yeah. But yeah.
That's all we have for Oaf Discussions reviewing Logic's album. Please check out our other content on Podbean, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, as far as regular episodes that will be uploaded weekly. We thank you very much for your time for checking us out. Peace.
Later, guys.
Peace.